I'm a cybersecurity analyst. I protect networks for a living. I build firewalls. I monitor intrusions. I pride myself on being 3 steps ahead of any threat. The alert came at 8:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Critical security alert. Your bank password was successfully changed at 8:47 p.m. New login IP address detected. 192.160, 8.1.15. If this wasn't you, contact us immediately. My stomach dropped. I was sitting on the couch next to Sarah, my wife of 12 years. We just finished dinner. She was watching some reality show, sipping wine. I'd been scrolling through work emails on my phone. I didn't panic visibly. I'm trained not to. But internally, every alarm was screaming. Someone had compromised my bank account, and they'd done it from inside my house. I grabbed my laptop from the coffee table and pulled up my router's admin panel. My fingers moved on autopilot, typing in credentials, navigating to the connected devices list. My laptop, 192.160, 8.1.10. Sarah's phone, 192.160, 8.1.12. My phone, 192.160, 8.1.11. The smart TV, 192.160, 8.1.13. And then 192.160, 8.1.15, connected at 8:43 p.m., still active. The guest laptop. I looked up slowly. The guest laptop, an old machine we kept in the living room for visitors, was sitting on the ottoman, 3 feet from Sarah's leg. The lid was closed, but when I leaned forward slightly, I could see the faint glow of the power indicator. It was on. Sarah didn't look at me. She took another sip of wine, eyes fixed on the TV. "Sarah," I said quietly. She didn't respond. "Sarah, She glanced over, her expression perfectly neutral. "Did you use the guest laptop tonight? Why?" "Just answer the question." She smiled slightly. "Yeah, I checked my email." "Why?" "When?" "I don't know, 20 minutes ago?" I reached over and picked up the guest laptop. It was warm, recently used. Sarah watched me, but didn't say anything. I opened it. The screen lit up immediately, no password required. We'd never bothered setting one up for the guest machine. The browser was still open. 3 tabs. The first tab, Gmail, Sarah's account, nothing unusual. The second tab, a recipe website, also normal. The third tab, my bank's password reset confirmation page. Account password successfully updated. You may now log in with your new credentials. I stared at the screen for 5 full seconds. "Sarah," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "What did you do?" She didn't flinch, didn't look guilty, didn't look surprised that I'd found it. She just set down her wine glass, crossed her legs, and looked at me with eyes that were colder than I'd ever seen them. "I changed your password," she said simply. Why? Why would you do that?" "Because I needed to." "Needed to?" "Sarah, that's my bank account. That's illegal. That's fraud." "Is it?" She tilted her head slightly. "We're married. We share assets. Joint property, right? That account is in my name only." "Exactly." I didn't understand. My brain was trying to process what was happening, but nothing made sense. What are you talking about?" Sarah reached down beside the couch and pulled out a manila folder. She'd had it there the whole time, I realized. Waiting. She tossed it onto my lap. "Open it." My hands were shaking as I picked up the folder. Inside were legal documents, pages and pages of them. The first page had a title in bold, "Petition for Dissolution of Marriage. Divorce Papers, filed last week." My name, her name, case number, court date, set for next month. "You're divorcing me," I said, the words feeling foreign in my mouth. "Yes." "When were you planning to tell me?" "I wasn't. You were supposed to be served tomorrow morning at work. I wanted to make sure everything was in place first." "Everything? What everything?" She leaned back, perfectly calm. "I needed access to your accounts, Tom. All of them. The ones you think I don't know about. I don't have secret accounts." "Bullshit." The word came out sharp, like a slap. "I've been watching you for 6 months," she continued. "I know exactly what you've been doing. The pension you claimed was separate property because you started it before we got married. The investment account's in your name only. The cash you've been skimming from your bonuses and hiding in that high-yield savings account, you think I'm too stupid to notice." I felt the blood drain from my face. "Sarah, don't lie to me. Not now. How did I figure it out?" She laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Tom, you're a cybersecurity analyst. You're brilliant at protecting systems, but you're terrible at covering your tracks at home. You leave your laptop open. You use the same passwords for everything. You think I don't pay attention." She stood up and walked to the bookshelf. From behind a row of novels, she pulled out a leather-bound journal. My journal. The one I kept locked in my desk drawer. "You found that," I said stupidly. "I picked the lock. It took me about 30 seconds. You really should invest in better security for your personal stuff." She flipped it open and started reading, her voice dripping with contempt. "March 15. Transferred $5,000 from bonus to savings account ending in 7 $7,743. Sarah doesn't know about this one. Need to keep building the exit fund. April 22. Met with lawyer to discuss asset protection strategies. Confirmed that pension contributions from before marriage are separate property. Good news. She snapped the journal shut and threw it at me. It hit my chest and fell into my lap. Exit fund, she repeated. You were planning to leave me, and you were hiding money to make sure I got nothing. It's not what it looks like. Then what is it, Tom? Explain it to me. I couldn't, because she was right. I'd started the exit fund 2 years ago. Not because I wanted to leave her, necessarily, but because I wanted the option. I wanted security, a safety net. Our marriage had been deteriorating for years. We barely talked. We hadn't been intimate in over a year. We lived like roommates, and I'd started to plan for what might come next. But I'd never actually intended to file for divorce. I was just preparing, just in case. I wasn't hiding money from you, I tried. I was saving. For us. For emergencies. In a secret account that I'm not on? That I didn't know existed? Sarah? And the lawyer meetings? The asset protection strategies? I was just exploring options. You were planning to screw me over in a divorce, Tom. That's what asset protection means. It means hiding your money so your spouse can't touch it. She was right. Again. Okay, I said, my voice hollow. Okay, fine. I was protecting myself. But that doesn't give you the right to hack into my bank account. I didn't hack anything. I reset your password using the security questions, which, by the way, you made laughably easy. What's your mother's maiden name? What's the name of your first pet? Come on, Tom, I've known those answers for 12 years. That's still illegal. So is hiding marital assets. We stared at each other. What did you do with my account? I asked finally. She smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. I transferred half of everything into a new account in my name. 50% of your checking, 50% of your savings, 50% of the investment accounts I could access. I figured that's fair, since we're married and all. You can't, Sarah. That's theft. No, it's asset preservation. I'm securing my share before you try to hide it all. I'm calling the bank. I'm calling the police. Go ahead. And while you're at it, I'll call my lawyer and show them your journal. The one where you explicitly detail your plan to hide money from me in a divorce. See how that plays out in court. I sat there, frozen. She'd outmaneuvered me completely. Every move I'd made to protect myself, she'd anticipated. She'd been watching, planning, waiting for the right moment. How long have you known? I asked. About the accounts? 6 months. About the lawyer? 4 months. About the journal? I found that 3 months ago. And you didn't say anything? No, because I needed time. Time to build my own case. Time to document everything. Time to make sure that when I left, I'd be protected. You've been living a lie for 6 months. She laughed. Actually laughed. I've been living a lie for 2 years, Tom. Ever since you started your exit fund. At least I had the decency to file for divorce instead of just bleeding you dry while pretending everything was fine. She had a point. So, what happens now? I asked. Now you try to change your passwords back. You call the bank, you panic, and then tomorrow you get served with divorce papers at work. And you realize that everything I did tonight is going to be fully documented in the divorce filing. I've already sent screenshots to my lawyer. You're going to argue that I committed fraud, and I'm going to argue that I was securing marital property that you were trying to hide. We'll let a judge decide who's right. You've thought of everything. I learned from the best. She picked up her wine glass, drained it, and set it down with a soft clink. You taught me to be paranoid, Tom. You taught me to always have a backup plan. Congratulations. Your lessons worked. The moment Sarah left the room, she went upstairs. Calm as anything, I grabbed my phone. I called the bank's fraud hotline. This is the fraud department. How can I help you? Someone changed my password without authorization. I need to lock my account immediately. I can help with that. Can I have your account number? I rattled it off. And your full name? Thomas Brennan. Date of birth? I gave it to her. Okay, Mr. Brennan. I see there was a password change at 8:47 p.m. tonight. Can you confirm that wasn't you? No, it wasn't. Someone else did it. Do you know who? My wife. There was a pause. Your wife changed her password? Yes, without my permission. Another pause. Mr. Brennan, is this a shared account? No, it's in my name only. I see. And you're saying your spouse accessed the account without authorization? Yes. Okay, let me ask you this. Are you in the process of a divorce? My blood ran cold. How did you? Because we get these calls sometimes, sir. And usually there's a legal dispute involved. I can lock your account, but if this is part of a divorce proceeding, the court may issue orders about account access. I'd recommend speaking with a lawyer. I need you to lock it now. I can do that. But Mr. Brennan, Brennan, I should tell you if your wife has already transferred funds out, locking the account won't reverse those transfers. You'd need to file a formal dispute. How much did she transfer? The representative went quiet for a moment, typing. It looks like there were 3 transfers tonight. One to an external account for $32,000, one for $18,500, and one for $7,200. I did the math in my head. That was almost exactly half of everything I had in that account. Lock it, I said. Lock everything. All right, I'm placing a freeze on the account now. You'll need to come into a branch with ID to reactivate it. Is there anything else I can help with? No. I hung up. $57,700. She'd taken $57,700. I checked my other accounts. The investment account, she'd gotten into that too. Another $45,000 gone. The high-yield savings account, the one I thought was secret $12,000 transferred out. She drained me for over $114,000 in one night. I called my lawyer. It was almost 10 p.m., but I didn't care. He answered on the 3rd ring. Tom, what's wrong? Sarah's divorcing me, and she just cleaned out my bank accounts. Silence. David, did you hear me? Yeah, I heard you. Okay, walk me through it. I told him everything. The password change, the transfers, the divorce papers, the journal. When I finished, David let out a long breath. All right, this is bad, Tom, but it's not unfixable. Here's what we need to do. Can I get the money back? Maybe, probably, but it's going to depend on how the judge sees it. If she can argue that she was securing marital assets that you were hiding, she might have a case. I wasn't hiding anything. Tom, you kept a journal detailing your plan to protect assets from her in a divorce. That's going to look really bad. I was just being cautious. A judge isn't going to see it that way. A judge is going to see a husband who was planning to screw over his wife and a wife who defended herself. She stole from me. She took what she believes is hers. Whether that's true is going to be up to the court. I felt sick. What do I do? First, document everything. Screenshot the transactions, the password changes, all of it. Second, file an emergency motion with the court to freeze all assets and return the funds she transferred. Third, get ready for a fight, because if she's willing to do this, she's not going to roll over in the divorce. How long will this take? Months, maybe longer. Divorce cases with contested assets can drag on for a year or more. A year? At least. And Tom, you need to be prepared for this to get ugly. Really ugly. I didn't sleep. I spent the entire night documenting everything. Screenshotting bank records, printing out transaction histories, gathering evidence. Sarah didn't come back downstairs. I heard her moving around upstairs, packing, I assumed. Around midnight, I heard the front door open and close. She'd left. I didn't try to stop her. At 7 a.m., I dragged myself into the shower, put on a suit, and went to work. At 9:30 a.m., I was in a meeting when there was a knock on the conference room door. Mr. Brennan, I need you to sign for this. A process server, standing in front of my entire team. I signed for the envelope, my face burning with humiliation. Inside were the divorce papers, official, filed with the court, citing irreconcilable differences. My phone buzzed. An email from Sarah's lawyer. Mr. Brennan, please see attached filing. We are seeking a temporary restraining order preventing you from accessing or transferring any jointly held or marital assets pending the resolution of this case. A hearing is scheduled for next week. Please ensure your attorney is present. A restraining order on my own money. I forwarded the email to David and called him immediately. They're trying to freeze me out, I said as soon as he picked up. I saw. We'll fight it. But Tom, I'm not going to lie to you. They have a strong argument. You documented your intent to hide assets. That's going to be hard to overcome. So what? I just let her take everything? No. We argue that her actions were illegal, that she had no right to access your accounts without permission, and that the transfers should be reversed. But we need to be smart about this. Smart how? We need to show that you weren't actually hiding anything, that the accounts were always disclosed, that she had access to the information, that this was just prudent financial planning. But I was hiding it. Tom, don't say that. Not to me. Not to anyone. If you want to win this case, you need to control the narrative. The hearing was set for the following Tuesday. Temporary orders. The judge would decide whether Sarah's actions were justified and whether the asset freeze should remain in place. I sat in the courtroom next to David. Sarah sat across the aisle with her lawyer, a sharp-looking woman in her 50s named Patricia Simmons. The judge was a tired-looking man in his 60s. He read through the filings quickly, then looked up. "This is a mess," he said flatly. "Mrs. Brennan, you're arguing that you had the right to access your husband's accounts to secure marital assets?" Patricia stood. Yes, Your Honor. My client discovered that Mr. Brennan had been systematically hiding money in separate accounts in anticipation of a divorce. She acted to protect her interests by changing his passwords and transferring out over $100,000, by securing her 50% share of marital assets. Yes. The judge looked at David. Mr. Brennan, your position? David stood. Your Honor, my client's accounts were accessed without his knowledge or consent. Regardless of marital status, this constitutes fraud and theft. We're asking that the funds be returned immediately and that Mrs. Brennan be held accountable. And the journal? The judge asked. The one where Mr. Brennan documented his plan to hide assets? David hesitated. Your Honor, that journal reflects my client's private thoughts. It doesn't constitute an actual plan to defraud his spouse. It literally says exit fund, the judge said, flipping through the pages Sarah's lawyer had submitted. Sarah doesn't know about this one. That sounds like hiding assets to me. Your Honor, here's what I'm going to do, the judge interrupted. I'm freezing all accounts pending a full financial disclosure from both parties. Neither of you touches anything until we sort this out, Mrs. Brennan. The money you transferred goes into an escrow account. Mr. Brennan, you provide a full accounting of every financial asset you have. We'll reconvene in 30 days. Your Honor, my client needs access to funds for living expenses, Patricia interjected. Then she can file for temporary support. But nobody's touching the disputed funds until I say so. The gavel came down. The financial disclosure process was brutal. I had to provide every bank statement, every investment account, every retirement account, every asset I owned. David hired a forensic accountant to help me compile everything. You have more accounts than you told me about, David said when we met to review the documents. I forgot about some of them. Tom, you don't forget about a $30,000 account. I opened it years ago. I wasn't actively using it. It doesn't matter. Sarah's lawyer is going to argue that this proves you were hiding money. And honestly, they'd be right. I didn't have a response to that. Sarah's financial disclosure came back clean. She had one checking account, one savings account, and a small retirement account from a job she'd had years ago. Everything was transparent, documented, nothing hidden. She looked like the honest spouse. I looked like the liar. We need to settle, David said. What? We need to settle this case. If we go to trial, you're going to lose. A judge is going to look at your accounts, look at that journal, and give Sarah everything she's asking for. Maybe more. She stole from me, and you were planning to screw her over. The judge isn't going to care who acted first. So what? I just give her half of everything? You give her half of the marital assets, yes. That's what she's entitled to anyway. We negotiate the specifics, what counts as marital, what counts as separate, but the end result is going to be a split. I don't want to give her anything. Tom, be realistic. You're not winning this. We met in a conference room. Me, David, Sarah, and Patricia. Sarah looked calm, rested. I looked like I hadn't slept in a month, because I hadn't. Let's cut to the chase, Patricia said. My client is willing to settle for 50% of all marital assets, including retirement accounts, investment accounts, and the marital home. In exchange, she'll drop the fraud claims and agree to a no-fault divorce. 50% of everything is not reasonable, David countered. Many of these accounts were started before the marriage or were funded with premarital assets. Then prove it. Show us the documentation. I didn't have documentation. I'd never kept detailed records of what money came from where. The house, David said, pivoting. The house was purchased before the marriage. That's separate property, but it was refinanced during the marriage, and marital funds were used to pay the mortgage. That makes it marital property, Patricia shot back. We're willing to offer 35%, David said. 50, 40, 50. This went on for 2 hours. Finally, Sarah spoke for the first time. I don't want to fight about this forever, she said, her voice quiet. I just want what's fair. Tom spent 2 years planning to cut me out. I'm not going to roll over and let that happen, but I'm also not trying to destroy him. She looked at me. 50% of the accounts. I keep the house. You keep your retirement accounts. We walk away clean. The house is worth $400,000, I said, and I'm giving up claim to your pension, which is worth twice that. It's a fair trade. David looked at me. Tom, this is a good deal. You should take it. I wanted to say no. I wanted to fight. I wanted to win, but I was so tired. Fine, I said. We signed the settlement agreement 2 weeks later. Sarah got the house, half of the investment accounts, half of the savings accounts, her own retirement account. I got my pension, my 401k-. Half of the investment accounts, half of the savings accounts. We split the debt evenly. The divorce was finalized 60 days later. No trial, no drama. just paperwork. I moved into an apartment, 1 bedroom, generic furniture, a kitchen I barely used. Sarah stayed in the house, our house, the one we'd bought together, painted together, lived in together for 12 years. The financial damage was significant. Between the settlement, the legal fees, and the cost of starting over, I'd lost about $200,000. My savings were decimated. My retirement accounts were halved. I was starting from scratch, but the emotional damage was worse. I couldn't trust anyone anymore. Every conversation felt like a potential trap. Every relationship felt like a liability. I'd spent 2 years planning my exit, and in the end, Sarah had executed hers flawlessly. I went back through my journal one night, the one Sarah had found. I read the entries, the calculations, the plans. Build the exit fund, protect the pension, minimize the damage. I treated our marriage like a business transaction, like a risk to be managed. And Sarah had done the same thing right back to me. We'd both been planning to leave. We'd both been protecting ourselves. We'd both been lying. The only difference was that she'd been better at it. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, Sarah texted me, "Can we talk? Just coffee. I need closure." I didn't want to see her, but I also didn't want to spend the rest of my life angry. We met at a coffee shop downtown. She looked good, healthier than she'd looked in years. "Hey," she said when I sat down. "Hey." Silence. "I don't really know what to say," she admitted. I felt like we never actually talked about what happened. We just fought through lawyers. What is there to talk about? You found out I was hiding money. You took it. We got divorced. It's not that simple, isn't it? She sighed. "Tom, when did we stop being a team?" "I don't know." "I do. It was about 3 years ago. You got that promotion. You started working longer hours. We stopped having dinner together, stopped talking, and I started to feel like I was just a roommate, not a partner. I was working hard for us." "No, you were working hard for you. And I get it. I do. But somewhere along the way, you decided that I was a liability, someone you needed to protect yourself from." She wasn't wrong. "And when I figured that out," she continued, "I realized I needed to do the same thing. Because if you weren't going to protect me, I had to protect myself. By stealing my money? By taking what was mine. We were married, Tom. Everything we built was supposed to be ours, but you made it yours, so I made it mine." We sat in silence for a while. "I'm sorry," I said finally. "For what?" "For treating you like an enemy instead of a wife." "I'm sorry, too, for what I did. The way I did it. It was vindictive. I wanted to hurt you because you'd hurt me. Did it work?" She smiled sadly. "Not really. I just felt empty." I didn't see Sarah again after that conversation. I heard through mutual friends that she'd sold the house and moved, started over somewhere new. I stayed in my apartment, kept working, saved money again. I went on a few dates. They never went anywhere. I'd learned my lesson about relationships. A year after the divorce, I was cleaning out some old boxes when I found a photo album. Pictures from our wedding, our honeymoon, birthdays, holidays. We looked happy in the photos, genuinely happy. I tried to remember when that had changed, when we'd stopped being partners and started being adversaries. I couldn't pinpoint a specific moment. It had been gradual, imperceptible. Death by 1,000 small betrayals. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd never started the exit fund, if I'd just trusted her, stayed vulnerable, stayed committed. Would we still be together? Or would we have ended up in the same place, just with a different timeline? I don't know. I learned something from the whole experience, though I'm not sure it's a lesson anyone wants to learn. Marriage isn't just about love. It's about trust. And once that trust is broken, once you start seeing your partner as a threat instead of an ally, the relationship is already over. Everything after that is just paperwork. The ironic thing is that all my planning, all my protection, all my careful financial maneuvering, it didn't matter. In the end, I lost anyway. Not because Sarah outsmarted me, but because the moment I decided I needed to protect myself from her, the marriage was already dead. I'd built walls to keep her out, and she'd built walls to keep me out, and we'd ended up on opposite sides of a fortress neither of us wanted to live in. It's been 2 years now. I'm doing okay. I rebuilt my savings, got a new job, make more money than I did before. I live alone. I don't date much. I have a few friends, mostly from work. My life is fine. Not happy, not unhappy, just fine. Last month, I got a phone call from an unknown number. "Hello? Tom? It's Sarah." I froze. "I know this is weird," she continued quickly. I wanted to tell you something." "Okay, I'm getting remarried." Silence. "Oh, congratulations." "Thanks. His name is Marcus. We met about a year ago. He's really different from you." "Different how?" "He trusts me. Completely. No walls, no protection. Just trust." "That's good." "Yeah, it is. And I wanted you to know because I forgive you, Tom, for everything. And I hope you forgive me too." "I do." "Good. Take care of yourself." "You too." She hung up. I thought about that call for days. She'd found someone who trusted her, someone who didn't treat marriage like a business risk. And I was still alone, still guarded, still building walls. I went on a date a few weeks later. A woman from work. She was nice, smart, attractive. We had dinner. We talked. She asked about my past relationships. I was married, I said. Divorced about 2 years ago. What happened? We just grew apart. It was easier than explaining the truth. Easier than saying, I didn't trust her. She didn't trust me. And we destroyed each other trying to protect ourselves. The date ended fine. She texted me afterward, suggesting we meet again. I didn't respond. I can see the pattern now. I meet someone, I like them, and then, at some point, I start calculating. What if this doesn't work out? What if they leave? What if they take something from me? And the moment I start asking those questions, it's over. Because I'm no longer in a relationship. I'm in a risk assessment. Maybe some people aren't built for marriage. Maybe some people are too paranoid, too damaged, too focused on protection to ever truly let someone in. Maybe I'm one of those people. I still think about that night sometimes. The night I got the alert. The night I found Sarah on the couch with the guest laptop beside her. I'd felt so betrayed, so violated. But looking back now, I realize she must have felt the same way when she found my journal. When she realized I'd been planning my exit for 2 years. We were both betrayed. We both betrayed. I just got the text. Your bank password was changed. New IP address detected. 190.2.160.8.1.15. That was 2 years ago. I'm still not over it, but I understand it now. Sarah didn't steal from me. She protected herself from someone who'd already decided she was the enemy. And I didn't plan my exit because I wanted to hurt her. I did it because I was scared. Scared of being vulnerable. Scared of losing control. We were both scared. And fear destroyed us faster than any affair or betrayal ever could. I'm sitting in my apartment now, alone, looking at my bank account on my laptop. My laptop, 190.2.160.8.1.10. No guest laptop, no wife, no one to protect myself from. I built the perfect fortress, and now I'm the only one inside.